Welcome to Stonewatch. Today we're talking about the movie 65, starring Adam Driver. And if you haven't already, please smash the subscribe button and click on that bell so you can notify future videos. Be sure to give this video a thumbs up. And after going and checking out the movie 65, starring Adam Driver at the theaters opening weekend, I gotta say, this movie was alright. It's not the best movie I ever saw, but it wasn't like the worst movie I ever saw. I mean, it had dinosaurs in it, and it was a little bit of a space travel going on. Now, like, that was the one thing about this movie when I went to go see. I was wondering how they were going to do it, because I know it was supposed to go back to the time of the dinosaurs and stuff like that. I'm like, so does that mean this is going to be like a time travel movie? Kinda. I mean, they're not even from the Earth to begin with. They're from, I forget the name of the planet that they said they're from. And so they were traveling to where? That part I really didn't understand, because they didn't really explain it all too much, except the fact that he was going to be gone for 2 years, wherever they were going. He was going to be gone for 2 years. And then he got knocked off course, and they end up falling onto Earth during the Cretaceous period, and there was a bunch of dinosaurs. I guess it was all right. I mean, the dinosaur effects were pretty good. I mean, after you watch Jurassic Park and Jurassic World movies and stuff like that, that's a kind of like a high bar. You know what I mean? 65 is a 2023 American science fiction action thriller film written and directed by Scott Beck and Bryan Woods. It is a co-production between Columbia Pictures, Bron Creative, Raimi Productions, and Beck and Woods. In the film, a pilot crashes on an unknown planet, which actually turns out to be Earth during the Cretaceous period, and must endure the dangerous prehistoric environment in order to survive. In September 2020, Adam Driver signed on to star in the film and was to be produced, written, and directed by Scott Beck and Bryan Woods. Sam Raimi would co-produce with Zainab, Azizi, and Debbie Liebling. 2 months later, Ariana Greenblatt joined the cast, and in December 2020, Coleman joined the cast. Principal photography was expected to begin on November 16th of 2020 in New Orleans, but eventually beginning in December 7th of 2020. Filming also occurred in the Cretaceous National Forest in Vernon Parish, Louisiana in January of 2021. Production wrapped on February 21st of 2021. The visual effects were created by Framestore and Ghost FTX, with Chris Harvey serving as visual effects supervisor. Shot with a budget of $91 million, the final cost of the film was $45 million after tax rebates. 65 was released in the United States on March 10th of 2023 by Sony Pictures Releasing. The film has received mixed reviews from the critics and fans. Starring in this movie, Adam Driver, Ariana Greenblatt, Coleman, and Nikita King, just to name a few. Coming out of opening weekend, 65 is sitting with a Rotten Tomatoes score of 36%, with 67 top critics reporting in. So majority of the top critics are not really liking this movie, and I kind of get some of their criticism for this thing. I mean, because there were spots in this thing where the story kind of dragged a little bit. Even for a 90-minute movie, there were some spots I was kind of like, not even saying nodding off, but just it was like, whoa, can we get moving on? I mean, according to the information, they said that they had a $91 million budget, but after tax rebates with their, penny pitching savings, they only had like $45 million. Now, a lot of it had to go for the CGI dinosaurs, but you didn't really have too many dinosaurs in this movie. I mean, they were kind of in and out. They weren't really there a lot, considering what they were building this thing up as in the trailer, you know what I mean? But over on the audience side, it's a little bit different story. It's sitting with a score of 64%, with 500 plus fans telling you what they think. So a little over half of the fans are actually kind of digging this movie. I mean, this movie was, I wouldn't say action-packed, but the action was pretty good. The story was kind of interesting to a little degree, and when you find out that, spoilers, when you find out that Adam Driver's daughter, and the reason why he was on this trip to begin with, does not make it. She ends up passing away from whatever she was sick with. So even if he would have made it back home, which I think he kind of does, at least that's the way they kind of hint at the end of this movie, but even if he does make it home, his daughter's going to be gone. The whole reason why he went on this thing, I mean, that was like the one part of this movie that got me like right here. Myself being a parent, especially of two daughters, that got me like right here. I'm like, oh man, that just sucks. You know what I'm saying? Now with a $45 million budget after tax rebates, they bring in a whopping $20.8 million for its opening weekend haul. Now 65 did manage to get the number 3 spot for the box office this weekend, which is pretty damn good because there's still some heavy hitters out there right now. I mean, Scream 6 just dropped this weekend also, but it's just killing the competition. It's at number 1 for the weekend. and Creed 3 is still throwing the punches. It comes in at number 2 this weekend, 65 at number 3. Now, I want to say that Ant-Man is still dominating the box office, but it's not. I mean, it's at week 3 and it's at number 4. Not really performing the way the MCU wanted it to, but it is what it is. I liked it. So, and then coming in number 5, we've got Cocaine Bear. Now, that movie is awesome. I highly recommend. But however, 65 did come in number 3 for this weekend. Now, how it performs in week 2 is what's going to really tell us if this thing has any legs whatsoever. And the only big movie that's coming out next weekend is Shazam! Fury of the Gods. But they still have Creed 3. We still have Scream 6. Some limited movies that are coming out next weekend too. But the one it's really got to worry about is Shazam! Fury of the Gods, which actually there's some people that are saying that not so much, but we'll have to wait and see how that movie performs when it comes out. Anyway, but 65 is doing pretty good for its opening weekend. I mean, it's not, number 1 or anything, but not too bad. I mean, it made half of its tax rebate budget. So like I said, I thought this movie was all right. I mean, 15 or 2, I went matinee mainly because I'm cheap, but this movie was actually worth the price of matinee. I mean, I had a good time seeing it on the big screen. Do you need to watch it on the big screen? No, not necessarily. But the story was fairly interesting for the most part. Adam Driver is a pretty damn good actor. He did what he could with this. And then the girl, I mean, I'm not really sure what else she's done, but she was all right in this thing. I thought she did a pretty good job. And it kind of had that Mandalorian, lone wolf cub type vibe going on throughout this whole movie. And it just seems to be the recurring theme with the Mandalorian, this, and The Last of Us that's over on HBO Max right now. So I don't know. This movie was worth the watch. If you want to see this in the theater, that's pretty much up to you. You know what I'm saying? So did you see the movie 65? Let me know in the comments down below. What do you think? Do you think this movie was any good? Let me know in the comments down below. And how did you think this thing actually compares to all the Jurassic World, Jurassic Park movies? Let me know what you think in the comments down below. I mean, I don't know. It wasn't a bad watch. That's all I can really say, right? So let me just think in the comments down below.